She sat in the corner of the dark hut, knees pulled to her chest, shaking from cold and hunger. The wooden walls were thin, with holes that let in wind and dust. There was no bed, no blanket, no food, only a broken floor and shadows. Her name was Zalari, once proud, once strong, but now her body was weak, her skin pale, her lips dry. Her people, her own family, had left her here to die. They said she was useless, broken, cursed. No one came to check on her. No one cared. She couldn't remember how long she had been there. Maybe days, maybe more. The hunger made her dizzy. Her head spun. Her stomach ached so badly that she wanted to scream, but no voice came. Only silence. At night, rats ran across the floor. She was too weak to move, too tired to fear. Zalari used to be fast, full of life. Her body had once glowed with bright energy, but something happened inside her. A change. Her power began to grow too fast, too wild. Her people feared it. Instead of helping her, they locked her away. Better to let her fade, they said. Better if she disappears. Now she was disappearing. Her eyes were closing, heavy like stone. She thought, maybe this is the end. But then, thud, a sound, footsteps, not light, not careful, like the others who came to hurt her. These steps were heavy, slow, strong. Her eyes fluttered open. Thud, 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 closer. Was it real? Or just her starving mind playing tricks again? Crack, the door slammed open. Bright light poured in. Zalari's eyes burned. She turned her face away. Someone stood in the doorway, tall, broad, not alien, not one of her kind. It was a human. He stepped inside slowly. His boots crushed the dust. He wore armor, old, scratched, but strong. A blaster was on his belt. His face was rough, with a scar across his cheek, but his eyes, they were not cruel. They were shocked, angry, and sad. He looked at her like she was something broken, like something that never should have been left behind. Zalari tried to sit up, but her arms gave out. Her head dropped. He ran forward and knelt beside her. Hey, can you hear me? He said, voice deep and full of worry. She blinked slowly. Her lips moved. No words came out. He pulled a water bottle from his pack and held it to her mouth. Drink. Come on. Just a little. Cool water touched her lips. She sipped weakly. A small sound escaped her throat, half cry, half relief. He stared at her thin face, her shaking hands, the bruises on her arms. Who did this to you? He asked, but she couldn't answer. He didn't wait. Gently, he lifted her in his arms. She was light, too light. His heart sank. Whoever she was, she didn't have much time. As he stepped outside, Zalari squinted at the light. For the first time in days, she saw the sun again. Outside, the alien village was quiet. Some locals watched from a distance, their faces cold. One of them, a tall male, called out, "Leave her, human! She's trash! Let her rot!" The human stopped. He turned to them. "You left her to die in a box. She's not trash, she's yours, and you should be ashamed." The crowd said nothing. No one stepped forward. No one cared. He looked down at her. Her head was resting against his chest. She was barely holding on. "Don't worry," he whispered. "I've got you." He walked away from the village, carrying her into the forest, toward his ship. Far behind them, the dark hut stood silent again, empty, forgotten. But for Zalari, this was not the end. It was the beginning. The human's name was Jarn Cade. He was a soldier once, now a wanderer with no orders, no war, and no home. He had seen many planets, many lies, and many people pretending to be good. But nothing shook him like what he found in that hut. As he walked through the forest, carrying the half-alive alien girl in his arms, his jaw was tight and his heart was heavy. The girl, Zalari, was silent. Her eyes closed, her body barely breathing. Jaren could feel her ribs through her skin. She was so light, like wind, too light to survive long. "Hold on," he whispered to her. "Just hold on a little more." After a long walk, he reached his small ship. It was hidden under tall trees, its metal body covered in moss and dirt to keep it secret. The ramp lowered with a soft hum, and he stepped inside. His ship wasn't fancy, just enough to fly, sleep, and cook. But it was clean, safe. He laid her gently on the bed in the medbay. It was the first time that bed had held anyone other than him. She moaned softly, her face twisting in pain. Jaron grabbed his medkit. He wasn't a doctor, but war had taught him enough. He cleaned her wounds, checked her vitals, and gave her nutrient fluid through an old injector. For hours he worked in silence. No music, no talking, just breathing and worry. Finally, she opened her eyes again. Just a little. She saw his face. Not angry, not cruel, just tired and kind. Why? She whispered. Her voice was dry as dust. Why? Help me. Jaron looked at her. Then he sat beside the bed. I don't know you, he said, but no one deserves to be thrown away. Not like that. Zalari blinked slowly. They said, I'm wrong. Broken. He shook his head. And they're worse than broken. They're cowards. She stared at him. No one had said that before. Not even in her dreams. He stood up. Rest. I'll get food ready. Real food. As he turned, she grabbed his wrist. Her fingers were weak but shaking. You'll leave. Like others? She asked. Jaron paused. No, he said. I'm not leaving. That night, he made soup. Simple, warm, and full of energy. He sat by her side and helped her eat, spoon by spoon. Zalari's hands were shaking, but she smiled a little after the first few sips. Her stomach woke up, confused but thankful. I forgot what warm food felt like, she said softly. Then you'll get used to it again, he replied. The next day she could sit up. By the second, she could stand with his help. Every day. He stayed by her side, but the village didn't forget. Jaron had picked up someone they wanted gone. They started whispering, watching. One day, a tall alien male from the village came to Jaron's ship. His name was Velkar, and his eyes were full of disgust. You don't understand what she is, Velkar growled. She is dangerous. That's why she was locked up. Jaron didn't even flinch. You left a starving girl to die. Don't lecture me about danger. She carries something inside her, Velkar said darkly. Something not natural. Jaron stepped closer. Then why didn't you try to help her? Heal her? Train her? Velkar said nothing. Jaron's voice turned cold. You're scared of her, that's all. Velkar pointed a long finger. She will destroy you. Jaron replied, maybe, but I'd rather die helping her than live like you watching. People suffer in doing nothing. Velkar left, but his warning stayed. That night, Jaron added more locks to the ship's hatch. He checked his blaster, cleaned his knife, and set traps outside. Zalari watched him from the bed. They hate me, she whispered. I know, he said. They'll come. I know. And you still want me here? He looked at her and said, I don't just want you here. I chose you. She didn't answer. She just stared at him, heart pounding. No one had ever chosen her before. Later that night, while Jaron was asleep in the chair, Zalari looked out the window. In the distance, behind the trees, she saw something glowing, small eyes reflecting. Moonlight. Watching. Waiting. A chill ran through her. The village wasn't done with her. And maybe deep inside, her strange power wasn't done with her either, but this time she wasn't alone. Zalari opened her eyes to soft light. Not the harsh light of pain or the darkness of the hut, but warm, golden light from a small lamp above the bed. She was still on the human ship, still alive. And for the first time in many days, she felt a little stronger. She sat up slowly. Her hands still trembled, but not as much as before. Her legs felt like they remembered how to stand. The air smelled like something cooking, something warm. Jaron stepped into the room with a bowl in his hand. He looked surprised to see her sitting. Well, he said with a small smile. Someone's finally awake. Zalari tried to smile back. I feel different. Good different? He asked. She nodded. I think so. He handed her the bowl. She took it carefully. It was some kind of stew, simple but full of flavor. She ate slowly, letting each bite warm her from the inside. Jaron watched her. You've got a long way to go, he said. But you're stronger than you think. Zalari looked down at her bowl. They didn't think so. He sat beside her on the edge of the bed. They were wrong. After eating, Zalari stood for the first time in days. Her legs were shaky, but Jaron helped her walk around the ship. He showed her everything: control panels, the engine room, the kitchen. "This is all yours now, too," he told her. She looked at him with wide eyes. "Mine? Yeah, as long as you're with me, it's your home, too." Zilari didn't say anything, but her heart felt lighter. For the next few days she rested, ate, and walked more. Her body slowly returned to life. Her skin had color. Again, her eyes weren't dull anymore. She even began helping in small ways, cleaning tools, folding blankets, cutting vegetables, but something still haunted her. One evening, she sat with Jaren outside the ship. The stars above were bright, shining through the leaves. "Do you know what's inside me?" she asked. Jaren looked at her. "No, but I think you do," she nodded. "It started when I was little. Sometimes when I got scared or angry, things would move, lights would break, walls would shake." Jaren listened, silent. "My people feared it. They said I was touched by something cursed. They tried to hide it, then lock it away." "Have you ever hurt anyone?" he asked. Zilari shook her head. "Never. I tried to hold it in. But it got stronger. I couldn't stop it sometimes." He leaned back. "So, instead of helping you control it, they threw you out." She nodded slowly. Jaren stared at the sky. "Sounds like you weren't the problem. They were." Zilari looked at her hands. "I'm scared it will come back. Worse than before." Jaren looked at her. "Then we'll face it together." She blinked. "You're not afraid?" He smiled. "Of course I am, but I'm still here, aren't I?" That night, while she slept, Jaren checked the traps outside. A few had been tripped. Footprints led into the woods, then disappeared. Someone was watching. He set more traps. And this time, he left a warning message on a tree. "She's not alone. Come closer and you'll regret it." The next morning, Zilari woke to a strange feeling in her chest. A warmth, a soft pulse. She placed her hand over her heart. It wasn't pain. It wasn't fear. It was energy. She stepped outside. Birds flew overhead. Sunlight touched her face. Her body felt light, like something inside was moving gently. She looked at a fallen leaf on the ground. She focused on it. Just for fun. Just to test. The leaf twitched. She gasped. Her eyes glowed faintly. Just for a second, Jaren saw it too. He stepped beside her. "That you?" She nodded, a little scared. He grinned. "That's a good start." For the next few days, Jaren helped her practice. He set up empty cans, rocks, sticks. She learned to push them without touching. Small things, slow progress. Every time she lost control, he stayed calm. "Breathe," he'd say. "You're not hurting anyone, you're learning." Zilari began, laughing again. Her voice was light, her smile real, and sometimes Jaren would smile back but then look away quickly, like hiding something in his heart, but the peace didn't last. One night, Jaren heard something outside. Not footsteps, something heavier. He grabbed his blaster and walked into the dark trees. Zilari watched from the doorway. Her fingers glowed slightly. Her power buzzed beneath her skin. She whispered, "Please, not yet." But in the shadows, something watched them both, something that had followed her from the village, and it wasn't alone. Asterisk. The night was quiet, too quiet. The trees stood still under the cold sky, and even the birds had gone silent. Jaren didn't like it. His instincts, shaped by years of war, whispered danger. Something was coming. Inside the ship, Zilari sat by the window, watching him. Her fingers played nervously with the edge of her cloak. The glow under her skin had returned, not bright, but there, alive. She had trained every day. Controlled her. Power laughed again, slept without fear. But now, something had changed in the air. Jaren returned from the woods with a dark look on his face. "They're close." Zilari stood. "How many?" "I saw at least 3, maybe more." He checked his blaster. They were wearing cloaks, moving like hunters. She stepped closer. "From the village?" Maybe hired by someone worse?" Her heart raced. "They want me dead." "No," Jaren said, eyes locked on hers. "They want your power. Or they want to silence it. Forever." He tossed her a small blade. "If they get in, you run. Don't wait for me." "I'm not running," she said firmly. Jaren stared at her. Then, for the first time, he smiled without hiding it. Good. They locked the ship and turned off the lights. Jaren moved like a shadow, placing traps, checking doors, setting defenses. Zellari stood near the back, hands glowing faintly, her breathing slow and steady, then a loud click, followed by silence. Jaren looked toward the door. His traps had been triggered. Then, boom. Smoke burst outside. A scream followed. One attacker. Down, then two more shapes appeared through the smoke, tall, armored figures with energy staffs. Their eyes glowed red. Jaren fired. A blast hit one, but the armor held. He ducked behind a crate and reloaded fast. Zellari felt something rise in her chest. Fear, but also something stronger. Anger. They came for her. Again. No more hiding. She stepped forward and raised her hand. The ground beneath the attackers trembled. One of them laughed. Still weak. Zellari's eyes glowed bright blue. Not anymore. She lifted her hand sharply. The air cracked. A wave of force slammed into the first attacker, throwing him into a tree. He didn't move again. Jaren stared in awe. Okay, that's new. The last attacker rushed forward, roaring. Zellari tried to stop him, but her hand shook. The power inside her flickered. Too much. Too fast. Zellari! Jaren shouted, firing again. The attacker ducked the shot and lunged. Jaren moved in front of her, blocking the hit with his body. The energy staff struck his shoulder, and he grunted in pain, falling to one knee. No! Zellari screamed. Something inside her exploded. A flash of light burst from her chest. Her scream echoed through the forest. The attacker froze mid-strike. Eyes wide. Then, crack. He was thrown backward like a ragdoll, crashing through trees before falling silent. The forest was quiet again. Zellari dropped to her knees, breathing hard. The light in her skin slowly faded. Jaren lay beside her, gripping his shoulder. Blood seeped through his shirt. Jaren! She cried, lifting his head gently. He smiled through the pain. That was impressive. You're hurt. Had worse, he said, but his eyes were losing focus. She pressed her glowing hand to his shoulder. Hold still. Her power flowed into him, not burning, not wild. It felt warm, soft, alive. Jaren gasped. The pain eased. His skin slowly began to close. He looked at her in wonder. You can heal? Zellari looked at her hand, shocked. I didn't know. They sat there for a while, breathing together. Broken trees lay all around. The attackers were gone, but something had changed. Zellari was no longer the helpless girl from the hut. She was a force. Jaren leaned against the wall. They'll send more, she nodded. I know. He looked into her eyes. You don't have to fight them all? She replied, I do, because next time they won't just come for me. They'll come for you too, he nodded slowly. Then we fight together. Zellari reached for his hand and held it. Together. As the first light of morning touched the sky, Jaren stood and looked at the broken forest. Zellari stepped beside him, her eyes calm, her spirit clear. She had survived the hut. She had survived the fear. Now, she was ready to fight for her life and for the one who stood by her side when no one else did. The sun had risen, but the sky was still gray. Smoke drifted over the broken trees outside Jaren's ship. The attackers were gone, but their message was clear. They knew where she was, inside the ship. Zellari sat at the edge of the bed, quiet. Her hands rested on her lap. No glow, no shaking. Just stillness. Jaren stood at the control panel, shoulder wrapped in a bandage. The healing helped, but pain still echoed in his bones. Neither of them spoke for a long time. Finally, Zellari broke the silence. You should have left me, Jaren turned. I'm still not doing that. She looked up. You don't know what I am. I know enough, he said simply. Zellari shook her head. No, you don't. He walked over and sat beside her. Then tell me, she hesitated. Then she began. I was born in a quiet part of the colony, she said. My parents were respected leaders of our region. We weren't rich, but we had peace. Jaren listened without interrupting. But when I turned 8, she continued, strange things started to happen. My emotions would shake the house. If I was scared, lights exploded. If I cried, the ground trembled. She looked down. They thought I was cursed. Jaren frowned. You were just a kid. I couldn't stop it. They brought healers, priests, scientists. No one could. Explain me. She paused, her voice dropped lower. Then the tests began. Jaren's eyes narrowed. Tests. She nodded. They wanted to know how far it went. How dangerous I could be. I was taken from my home for weeks, poked, watched, isolated. They said they were helping, but they were afraid. What about your parents? Jaren asked. They agreed to it. They thought I could be fixed. Her voice cracked. But I wasn't broken. Jaren's fists clenched. When I turned 15, she said, I broke one of the test rooms by accident. Not just the machines, the walls. That's when they decided I was too dangerous. So they locked you in that hut? No, first they erased me. Records, name, family ties. Then they told the village to forget me. Only a few guards knew where I was. Jaren stared at her, shocked. They buried you alive in a prison of silence. Zelari wiped a tear. I wasn't supposed to be found. He leaned forward. But I found you, and now the world will know what they did. She shook her head quickly. No, they'll hunt. They'll send more, worse ones. Let them, he said. I've faced worse than cowards in armor, Zelari smiled sadly. You don't understand. There's one more thing I never told you. Jaren raised an eyebrow. There's more? She nodded. They called it the core, a spark inside me, something ancient. It's why I can heal. Why I can move things. Why I'm different. He leaned back, listening carefully. It's not just power, she said. It's alive, Jaren blinked. Alive? Zelari looked serious. Sometimes I hear it whisper, like it knows more than I do. Like it's watching. He stood and walked a few steps away, trying to process it. Then he turned around. Do you trust it? She was quiet for a moment. Sometimes. But sometimes I feel like it wants more than I can give. Jaren crossed his arms. What if that core is a weapon? Zelari nodded. It might be. He took a deep breath. Then we need to control it before anyone else does. She looked at him, surprised. You're not scared? I am, he admitted. But I'm more scared of what they'll do to you if we don't act. Just then, the ship's alert system beeped. A signal was approaching. Jaren ran to the panel. Small shuttle. Not from the village. Zelari stood quickly. They found us again? No, this one's different. No weapons, no shields, just flying slow. They watched the screen as the small craft landed a few clicks away. Jaren grabbed his blaster. Stay here. No, she said, grabbing his arm. If it's about me, I need to see it too. Together, they stepped outside and moved through the trees. After a few minutes, they reached the shuttle. A tall figure stepped out. Robes, thin, wrinkled face. Zelari froze. I know him. Who is he? Jaren asked. She swallowed hard. He used to run the tests. The old alien raised his hand. I came alone. Please, I have no weapon. Jaren kept his blaster raised. Then speak fast. The man looked at Zelari. Your core is waking, and when it fully awakens, the galaxy will feel it. Zelari stepped back. What do you want? Jaren asked coldly. To warn you, the man said. Others are coming, not just soldiers, not just hunters, something older. Zelari's eyes narrowed. Why warn me now? The man sighed. Because I once helped hurt you, and I don't want to see that mistake destroy everything. Zelari stood frozen, staring at the old alien. Her hands were cold. Her heart beat like a war drum in her chest. You helped lock me away, she said, voice tight. Now you come here to warn me? The old man nodded slowly. Yes, because this time, it's not just about you. Jaren stepped between them, blaster aimed steady. Talk fast. The man's eyes shifted toward him. The core inside. It's not natural to this world. It was hidden inside her at birth. A choice was made long ago. She was never supposed to awaken it. Who made that choice? Jaren asked. The ones who came before us, ancient ones. The builders, the ones who feared what the core could do. Zelari stepped forward. Why me? We don't know, he said softly. But it chose you, the core bonded with your body, and now it's waking. Jaren narrowed his eyes. And others know about it? The man nodded. Yes, when you used your powers in the woods, they felt it across the stars. Across time, Zalari's breath caught. Who felt it? The man looked directly at her. The collectors. Jaren frowned. Who are they? They are ancient beings who hunt power like yours. They take it, use it, twist it. They don't care who dies in the process. Zalari whispered, They'll come for me. The man nodded. They always do. Jaren lowered his weapon just a little. Why warn us? What's in it for you? The old man sighed. Because I saw what they did to others like her. And I couldn't stop it. I thought I was doing my duty back then. I was wrong. Zalari's hands glowed faintly. What do they want to do to me? They'll either lock you in a core prison, or drain the core from your body. What happens if they drain it? She asked. The man looked away. You won't survive it. Jaren stepped forward. So what do we do? The old man took out a small crystal disc. There is a hidden place, deep in the mountains, long forgotten. It was once used to study the core. You might find answers there. Jaren reached out and grabbed the disc. What's the catch? They'll follow you, the man said. They'll hunt you. Harder now that they've sensed the awakening. Zalari looked at Jaren. Then we leave tonight. Jaren nodded. Get back to the ship. Pack only what we need. Zalari turned, but the man called out, Zalari! She stopped. Be careful. The core is alive. It will protect you. But it also has its own will. Don't lose yourself to it. She didn't answer. She just walked away. That night, clouds covered the moon. Jaren and the Zalari loaded the ship fast, only the essentials. He set coordinates to the mountains inside the ship. Zalari sat quietly. Her hand gripped the glowing crystal disc. It pulsed gently, almost like it knew her. Jaren walked over. You okay? She nodded. Just thinking. About the core? No. About me. She looked up at him. Do you think I'm still me? He crouched in front of her. I don't care what's inside you. You're the girl I found in the hut? The one who refused to give up? That's who you are to me. She smiled softly. Thank you. Suddenly, the ship shook. Jaren jumped to the control panel. Something's locking onto us. Tractor beam. Zalari rushed to the window. A dark ship hovered above them, black, sleek, and massive. It made no sound. Jaren slammed the controls. They found us faster than I thought. Zalari stood behind him. Can we run? I can try. He activated the engines, but the ship wouldn't move. The enemy beam held them tight. Jaren cursed it under his breath. They're too strong. Zalari stared at the window. Her eyes narrowed. Open the hatch. Jaren turned. What? Open it, she said. I'm going out. That's suicide. I'm not hiding anymore. He stared at her for a long moment. Then slowly he hit the button. The ramp lowered. Cold wind rushed in. Zalari walked to the edge. The enemy ship floated above, glowing with strange red symbols. She lifted her hands. The core inside her stirred, buzzing, burning, alive. A beam from the enemy ship shot toward her. Zalari didn't move. At the last second, a shield of light burst from her body. The beam hit it and scattered. Jaren's jaw dropped. You blocked it. Zalari's eyes glowed bright blue. I'm done running. Another shot came stronger. She pushed both hands forward. A wave of energy blasted from her chest, smashing into the enemy ship. It trembled. A piece of its hull cracked. The tractor beam vanished. Jaren leaped into the pilot seat. Now we run. Zalari rushed back inside. The ramp closed and the ship flew into the night sky. Behind them, the enemy ship burned. But it wasn't destroyed. It simply watched them fly away as they soared toward the mountains. Zalari looked out the window. Her chest still glowed faintly. They won't stop, she whispered. Jaren nodded. Then we make them. The ship flew low between tall gray mountains. Clouds rolled across the peaks like waves in the sky. Below, the ground was rough and empty, untouched by cities or roads. Zalari stood behind Jaren, her eyes locked on the screen, the glowing crystal. Disc in her hand pulsed faster now. It was guiding them toward something ancient. There, she said, pointing. That cave? Jaren nodded. I see it. He brought the ship down slowly. The engines hummed as dust blew across the rocky ground. The ship landed just outside the mouth of a giant cave. Its entrance was carved with strange symbols, glowing. Faintly in the fading light, Jaren grabbed his blaster. You sure this is the place? Zalari looked at the symbols. They made her skin tingle. Yes, the core remembers. They stepped inside. The cave was cold, silent, and deep. Their footsteps echoed. Walls glowed with soft blue light as they walked, responding to her presence. Finally, they reached a massive chamber. In the center stood a round platform, floating slightly above the ground. All around were stone chairs, ancient tech, and a broken control pillar. Zalari stepped onto the platform. The crystal disc in her hand dissolved into dust. Her eyes widened. A voice filled the chamber, not spoken, but inside her mind. You have come home, she gasped. Did you hear that? She asked Jaren. He shook his head. I didn't hear anything. Zalari turned slowly. The core is speaking to me. The walls around her lit up with symbols and images, old galaxies, planets, stars exploding, and strange beings holding glowing hearts. Jaren watched silently. Then, Zalari dropped to her knees. Her body trembled. Zalari! Jaren rushed forward. I'm okay, she whispered. It's showing me everything. She saw the truth. The core wasn't just a weapon. It was life force, a seed of creation. It had been hidden across the stars, placed inside rare children. Chosen ones, some were found, used, broken, others, like her, were hidden and forgotten. Now, the core had fully awakened in her, and it gave her a choice: run forever or rise. Jaren placed a hand on her shoulder. You don't have to do anything alone. She looked up at him, eyes glowing. I don't want to run anymore. Outside the cave, thunder rumbled. Jaren looked toward the exit. They're coming. A dark ship appeared above the mountains. Its shadow covered the sky, then another. Then three more. Zalari stood. The collectors. Too many to fight, Jaren said, gripping his blaster. We can still fly out. Hide again. Zalari stepped away. No more hiding. Jaren grabbed her hand. If you stay, you might die. She squeezed his fingers gently. But if I run again, something inside me will break, and I'll never be whole. He looked into her eyes. Then I stay too. No, she said, smiling. Softly, you already gave me everything. A second chance. A name, a home. This part, I finish. Jaren's chest tightened. He wanted to say no, to protect her, to fight beside her, but he saw it in her eyes. This was her moment. She turned toward the center of the chamber. Light rose from the platform, wrapping around her like armor made of stars. Her feet lifted from the ground. Outside, the collector ships opened. Strange beings floated down, glowing with dark energy. Faces hidden under twisted masks. They reached the cave entrance. Zalari walked toward them, glowing brighter with every step. You hurt too. Many took too much, not anymore. The leader raised a hand. You belong to the core. You are not its master. Zalari stood tall. No, I am its choice. A wave of light burst from her chest. The ground shook. The sky split with thunder. The cave behind her lit like a sun. The dark collectors screamed. One by one, their masks cracked. Their bodies crumbled into dust. The ships above lost power and dropped from the sky like metal birds with broken wings. Inside the cave, Jaren covered his eyes as the light grew too bright, and then silence. Hours later, Jaren woke to find Zalari lying beside him. Breathing slowly, he touched her face. Zalari? She opened her eyes. No glow now. Just peace. It's done, she whispered. He helped her sit up. You stopped them. She nodded. They'll never find me again. The core sealed itself. I used its last spark. Jaren smiled. So, what now? She looked at the sky. Now I live. Not as a weapon and not as a prisoner, just me. Jaren stood and offered her his hand. You coming back to the ship? She laughed softly and took it. Only if you let me fly this time, he grinned. Deal. As they walked back, hand in hand, the wind carried away the dust of war. The mountain was quiet, safe. Zilori looked back once, at the cave, at the place where it ended, and truly began. She had been left in a dark hut, but she rose from it stronger, and now she chose to stay.